For Singapore, the Eras Tour wasn't just a concert, it was an experience. Hosting 6 shows at National Stadium, the only stop in Southeast Asia. 6 shows. That's the most shows of any city other than LA so far. Wow, how'd they pull that off? That's what Singapore's neighbors wondered as well, and what they found out turned this into a cruel summer indeed. It turns out Singapore flew officials to Los Angeles even before tour dates were announced to negotiate a secret deal that snuck millions of dollars into Taylor's pocket, thus sealing Singapore's fate as the only stop of the Eras Tour in Southeast Asia. Ain't that the worst deal Singapore's neighbors had ever heard? Forget Helen of Troy, we now have Taylor of Tennessee ready to launch 1,000 ships. I mean, I kid, but this really threatened to blow up into a huge diplomatic incident between these Southeast Asian nations. These are allies, they do a lot of business together, and the feeling was Singapore screwed them over. Not just by getting the shows and negotiating a deal for that, but an exclusivity deal that they would only go to Singapore in Southeast Asia. Was Singapore being a bad neighbor in doing that? Some of them think so. I'll tell you what some of them are saying, what Singapore's response is, and then I'll break down the numbers for you to see if it was worth all the trouble. Coming up in this video, Taylor shares her close personal connection to Singapore, who got the 22 hat each night, Cam tries his hand at Singlish, Singapore's slang, and hear all of the surprise songs, mashups with 4 of the songs never performed live before, and why Joe Alwyn should be officially terrified. You can see Taylor's arrival here, flying to Singapore direct from Sydney after those Australia tour dates. She was up to her umbrella antics again. I know I've talked about this before, but I just think it's so ridiculous. Like, what is this accomplishing? I don't get it. Like, it's your private jet, you're the most famous woman in the world, you're here for a pre-announced concert that everyone knows you're coming for. Like, why are we hiding, Taylor? Take a look at the hotel she stayed at, her secret hideaway, home away from home. A luxury villa at Capella Resort. Runs for $14,000 a night. It's actually made up of 2 separate historic bungalows put together into one villa. A few of those nights with Travis Kelce. Joining Taylor at the end of the trip, they were spotted out to dinner and around town. He was at the last 2 shows, and I just love Travis Kelce's enthusiasm, always, in the crowd. I mean, he's been to, God, I don't even know how many shows now. At least 5 shows, 6 shows, and he is just so enthusiastic, having a ball every time. Singapore certainly rolled out the red carpet to welcome Taylor. Even the airport was bejeweled the minute Swifties got off the plane. Take a look at the iconic Marina Bay Sands Hotel. This has like that surfboard-looking roof. It was lit up in Eras Tour colors. And the fountains out front were programmed to Taylor's music. This is the same owners of this hotel that own the Venetian and the Palazzo in Las Vegas, if you've ever been to those. They know how to help make a splash. Check out this awesome Eras Tour trail. This was in the shopping mall of that resort, an interactive display covering each of Taylor Swift's eras. Certainly a selfie taker's dream. And a free kiosk to make friendship bracelets outside of the venue. So as you can see, Singapore was doing it right. All the news coming out of Singapore should have been positive. That was until the lid got blown off of that exclusivity deal. Thailand's prime minister was the one who found out about it, reportedly from someone in Los Angeles who helped negotiate the deal. Reports suggest Singapore shelled out up to $3 million per show. Singapore officials say the actual total was much smaller than that, but they would not give an exact number, citing that it was covered by an NDA. You know, they're not supposed to be talking about it. Secret agreement, hello.
I can say that it is not accurate and not anywhere as high as speculated.
Thailand's prime minister says if I had known this, I would have brought the shows to Thailand, indicating that he would have paid the same amount. Of course he would. The Philippines says this is not what good neighbors do. It's the law of the jungle, not the law of allies and friends. Indonesia's prime minister actually apologized to Swifties, saying, I'm sorry, Taylor Swift has not stopped by Indonesia yet, bought out by Singapore. Singapore certainly pulled a fast one on its neighbors, but were they wrong to do so? Does it make them a bad neighbor? Singapore's prime minister doesn't think so.
It has turned out to be a very successful arrangement. I don't see that as being unfriendly. Sometimes one country makes a deal, sometimes another country does.
Everyone here tonight who's traveled in order to be at this show.
Official totals show 368,000 people attended those 6 shows, and 70% traveled from somewhere else.
You make me feel like the luckiest girl in the world.
It ended up being a huge boon to Singapore's economy. $400 million is what they estimate the Eras Tour brought. So even if Taylor did Get $2 to $3 million per show even. Would have been a bargain for a $400 million return. I did go back and look to see where Taylor Swift has performed before. Would she have even gone to any other country anyway? Starting with Speak Now, the only other country she went to in Southeast Asia was Philippines. Red Tour is where she went to the most places. Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, and was planning to go to Thailand until a military coup canceled that stop of the tour. Military coup, that'll do it. Then we have Taylor Swift's 1989 tour, and she only went to Singapore. Didn't go anywhere in reputation in Southeast Asia. And then now we're at the Eras Tour. So I'm not convinced she would have gone anywhere else to begin with. So if they're gonna pay you to do something that you're already planning on doing, why not? As long as you can make sure it stays a secret. But it didn't stay a secret, so Taylor should certainly sue whoever it was that leaked this. It's hurt her reputation and her image with millions of fans, an entire region of the world now. A little more sour about Taylor Swift. A lot of them still went to the tour, but on social media they said, like, really? They felt like they were being sold out. Singapore was certainly enchanted by Taylor. There was zero evidence that any fans there were alienated. Look outside. This is outside the stadium. And people got there early to stake their claim seats outside. Just wild.
Welcome to the Eras Tour!
Let's run through some of the highlights here on the Singapore stop. First, we may have a new tradition on our hands. Started in Sydney. Remember when Sydney revived the iconic Sydney chant during Blank Space? Well, Singapore has brought it back here. I say for a tradition, it's got to be what? At least 3 times in a row probably, so Paris, your move. Taylor dazzled all 6 shows, however her hair frazzled. No match for Singapore's humidity. You can see it slowly progress curlier and curlier and curlier by the end of the show.
As you can see, my hair has returned to its factory settings, thanks to the humidity here. I'm not complaining, I like it.
Look closely as Taylor pulls her dress off of a dancer's head as he tries not to laugh. And these 2 strangers had a Last Great American Dynasty sing-off. I love this. 2 strangers, 2 Swifties, finding each other in the middle of a song and having a sing-off. Notable celebs in Singapore included Lisa of the K-pop group Blackpink and TikTok's CEO. Kind of ironic because Taylor's music had just been pulled from TikTok a few weeks earlier in a dispute with Universal Music Group. Maybe he heard Taylor was open to secret deals, on the side. Just kidding. I bet Joe Alwyn wishes he could make a secret deal, though, to scrap the Tortured Poets department. Instead, Taylor revealed the final alternate cover. I will break down the leading theories of what the Black Dog means and how it ties back to Joe Alwyn, coming up here in just a second, along with all of these surprise song mashups. And our first album has officially been crossed off the surprise song list. Every song has been performed now. First album yet on the tour. Can you guess which one? And don't forget to like the video and hit subscribe to follow along as we recap each country visited on the Eras Tour. So yeah, just like right there, appreciate it. If you made it this far, you don't hate it, hopefully. Taylor revealed a personal connection to Singapore after the song Marjorie, which is about her grandmother on her mom's side who died when she was 13. Marjorie was an opera singer and lived in Singapore for many years, actually partly raising Taylor's mom there, making the cell phone lights that you see being held up behind her even more special in Singapore.
It means so much that you do that. It kind of became like a tradition on the Eras Tour, but knowing that this is a place where she lived and loved, essentially honoring my family with what you just did with that song, it means the world.
Making the absolute most of his opportunity is Cam Saunders there, one of Taylor's backup dancers. Most Singaporeans actually speak English, at least as one of their languages, but Cam was not about to take the easy way out. Here he is speaking Singlish, Singapore slang, all 6 nights. A year into the Eras Tour, everything seems more relaxed, looser. Look at her backup dancer here. 34. 11-year-old Giselle serving. Got the 22 hat on night 1. Now, she had to get lucky twice to get here. Her mom wasn't even able to get Eras Tour tickets to begin with. She missed out, during the first sale. She had a friend with an extra ticket. She got to go. Her mom waited outside with her little sister. While inside, she gets getting the 22 hat. Talk about luck. Here are some more of the adorable kids getting that signed 22 hats in Singapore. 8-year-old Kylie got it night 3. Mom had actually taken her to the back because they were so short, the kids, they couldn't really see over all the people in front of them. And that turned out to be a lucky move because that is where someone from Taylor's team approached and said, follow us. They thought they were in trouble at first. And like, no, you're gonna like this. This girl, it's so cute. She's actually singing the lyrics back to Taylor in her face. In Singapore, Taylor announced the third and final alternate cover for the Tortured Poets Department, her upcoming album. It's called The Black Dog.
I just can't wait for you to hear it.
Of course, everyone went into a frenzy trying to figure out what this means, what she's trying to convey. Okay, the black dog is a term most widely used as a metaphor for depression, helping patients and their family members visualize the symptoms as a giant black dog kind of ominously looming behind you all the time. Winston Churchill famously referred to his own depression as a black dog on his lap. He's, of course, British, like Joe Alwyn. Now, in ancient English folklore, a black dog represents a omen of death. Taylor has an album called Folklore that Joe Alwyn helped write. So take that with track listings like So Long London, and it's pretty clear this is a reference to the death of her relationship with Joe Alwyn. There's another track called Clara Bow. The Hollywood icon famously owned a black dog and wrote it a 3-page eulogy, and that would be the most Taylor thing ever. So we'll see. I think those were some pretty good clues. Taylor's clearly been working overtime. Also, after announcing the Black Dog, she went right into a surprise song matchup of Clean and Evermore. Both of those songs are about healing, kind of the end of a journey after a long depressed period of time. This album is definitely about heartbreak, but it's also about healing if we are to read into the surprise songs that were played after. On guitar, we had Long Story Short, which was a debut performance, and The Story of Us. And let's go back to night one here, surprise songs. We had a mashup of Mine and Starlight. On piano, I Don't Want to Live Forever. And Dress. Surprise songs night 3, Foolish One from Speak Now, and Tell Me Why from Fearless. On piano here, this was a good pairing, I thought. This Love from 1989. My babies fly like a jet stream, high above the whole scene, loves me like a brand new. And Call It What You Want from Reputation. Call it what you want, yeah, call it what you want to. Okay, when it's not. Night 4, Death by a Thousand Cuts. And Babe. And on piano, 15. And You're on Your Own, Kid. Sprinklers, flashes, fireplace, ashes, I feed my blood, sweat and tears for this. Night 5, 2 of my favorite songs here, Sparks Fly. Mashed with Gold Rush. And on piano, False God. And Slut.
Last show for a while, and this is the end of the leg of this tour, and we've had such a wonderful time. I've been a little bit nostalgic, so.
Night 6, Tim McGraw. And Cowboy Like Me from Evermore. Cowboy like me. On piano, 2 folklore songs, Mirror Ball. And Epiphany, which is a debut performance. As we leave Singapore, we cross 4 more songs off of our surprise song list. So these are songs that haven't been played yet. That means that we officially retire Speak Now, Taylor's version. Every song has been performed as a surprise song. And that does it for the Asia-Australia leg of the Eras Tour. Taylor's off here for a few months, and then she returns in Europe, Paris, and by then we will have the Tortured Poets department out as well, so I imagine those songs will be worked into the Surprise Song Acoustic section. We will have to stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and again, if you haven't liked the video already, I'd appreciate it if you would throw this video a like, and follow along by subscribing as we recap each country visited on the Eras Tour. See you in Paris.